It seems like we're locked in once again with a championship fight with Charles Leclerc for the second time in a row. After his win in Baku last time out, we go into another crucial race where we need to try and maximize and limit the damage, as we're one episode away from those last batch of secret upgrades. And at Baku, we did really try our best. We even found a new favorite overtaking spot, very unorthodox place from the right to the left on the outside before the castle section. But Leclerc, I think like last season, has got his first ever win quite late on in the season, and it is at Azerbaijan. And if you remember back to last season, he went on to get back-to-back wins from Baku to Singapore. We absolutely need to stop that in its tracks, but it's going to be very difficult. That Ferrari seems very fast, and also other teams are going to be in between us. Obviously, Alonso and Albon in the BMW Williams and Aston Martin Honda respectively were between us. So it's going to be a tough job to try and stifle Leclerc's progress, but we're going to have to try our best, because this is the final race, like I said, before we get those last third tier of secret upgrades. With 4 rounds to go, 3 races where we're going to be seeing near to the max potential of this Toyota for the very first time. Nay, the max potential of any of our career mode cars, really, because we have not unlocked these secret upgrades, the third batch, on any occasion with any of the other teams we've been driving for in this career series. So it's going to be unknown territory, and we're pending on those 5 upgrades, of course. But just like in Baku, this Singapore Grand Prix is going to be crucial not to lose too many points to Leclerc if he is on form again. And these upgrades, not only is it great timing in terms of where we are on the championship fight, it's great timing because the teams around us, pretty much every team, even up and down the order, they're bringing more upgrades somehow. So maybe they're also finding that recognition, one or two drivers in each team, and they're finally finding some more upgrades. Because look at that, everyone basically plateaued from Miami all the way to pretty much around the Belgium Grand Prix to Monza. And now there's all of a sudden these upgrades springing up. To be fair, we've also somehow got an upgrade. I think, to be fair, that might be again the AI engine upgrade that you have no control over. And actually, to be fair, the timing of our upgrade there and others, maybe everyone has got one of the AI engine power upgrades. So in a weird way, it's going to equalize the actual advantage that has for people. But Ferrari, actually one of the teams that plateaus. McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, Aston all bring upgrades to get closer to Ferrari. So that's going to be in our favor to maybe push down Leclerc down the order in the pecking order. Let's go to quali and find out if that's going to be true, hopefully.
As night falls in Singapore, the track starts to warm up, and it'll be red hot by the time we find out who's on pole for tomorrow's race. Time to set the grid then. Welcome along to qualifying here in Singapore.
A very different circuit to Azerbaijan, so really an unknown. I mean, if you look back at how the season's gone, we have lacked a bit of downforce, so Singapore may not be such a strong circuit for us. But then at the same time, I think we've always gone well around here, especially on this game. I think, with the very pointy front end, it's actually worked to my benefit, I think. In terms of street circuits, actually being quite enjoyable, being able to dance the car around, have that aggression on the front end. But Leclerc, immediately you saw there, popped up a provisional pole time, so he is on form, unfortunately. Alonso's up there again. We're down to 9th place now as we go for our second and final flying lap. Such is the length of Singapore. Unlike in Baku, we don't have the luxury of doing 3 flying laps. We only had time for 2. I'd rather wait to the end of the session where track grips up, the track's evolved as much as it can. We're outside the top 10 right now, P14, as we sling around the last couple of corners. 3 tenths gain, maybe just under. We actually lost a bit of time in the final few corners. It's good enough for P7, our lucky number 7 for us. I hope that pays out for us. But what? What? Excuse me, Yuki Tsunoda, where has this come from? Oh my word, what? Where has this pace come from? Tsunoda is we've out-qualified Tsunoda consistently most of this season. He has not had the one lap pace this season compared to maybe previous ones. Where on earth has this come from? I mean, Leclerc, he would have got pole if it wasn't for Tsunoda being 0.054 quicker. I wonder, you know, Japanese driver, Japanese brand of this team. Maybe Tsunoda on the sly has been given a couple of those upgrades early. I mean, that's the only explanation I've got here because I'm gobsmacked. What on earth does Tsunoda have in his morning porridge before this qualifying for Singapore? I mean, I'm not going to complain. That's unreal. That's going to be an aid. I really hope he can annoy Leclerc enough where maybe we can make maybe couple of positions and catch up to Leclerc. We basically need him to be a great wall of defense. But unreal. Let's go to the grid. Let's see if there's any last-minute penalties to once again throw a spanner in the works. But this could be a very juicy and interesting Singapore Grand Prix coming up because of our teammate.
Marina Bay hosted a Grand Prix that briefly ran in the 60s and 70s, but the Garden City re-entered the calendar for good in 2008. We missed it for a couple of years, but it was great to come back to the Singapore Grand Prix. Things have changed slightly around the Marina Bay circuit. 4 corners have been taken out, the lap length reduced to just over 3 miles. That might be a welcome relief to the drivers, might be even more of a relief for their brakes. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ocon, Behrman, Albon, and RB, Norris, Hülkenberg, Hamilton, Verstappen, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Sargent, Stroll, Perez, Russell, Ricciardo, Zhou, Vesti, and Oscar Piastri. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Alongside me here in the commentary box today, former racing driver extraordinaire Naomi Schiff. Let's look at their season, and particularly against their teammate. Fair to say, they've got the better of them more often than not. Look, we know it's not where you start, it's where you finish. But let's talk about the start now. What's there to help the drivers get away well?
Well, the race is certainly not won in the first lap, let alone turn 1. However, what you can do is prepare yourself ahead of time. Visualize what could potentially happen, different scenarios and where you could place your car. And that will better prepare you to make the right decision with instinctive timing.
So it wasn't a dream. Yuki Tsunoda really is on pole position here for Toyota at the Singapore Grand Prix alongside our championship rival, the reigning champ, of course, number 1 in that Ferrari. On the front row alongside him is Leclerc, and we're going to need Yuki to do us a solid and really hold him up. We're going to have to really try our best to get past these 2 quick BMW Williams cars ahead of us, and Ollie Behrman doing an unreal job in the high-tech once again as he gets up into the top 4. Not a great day for Red Bull, and surprise, surprise, once again, we're joined at the hip, it seems, on the starting grids here this season with Lando Norris close behind in the McLaren. It's going to be a one-stop, I'm thinking, medium to hard. I think we have to go for the one-stop. There was the 2-stop as a default strategy, but I think we have to go for that track position to try our best to match Leclerc, to get something more out of this race before the upgrades come to this car. As we go to 5 red lights to a very crucial Singapore Grand Prix. We're underway. Tsunoda a little bit slow. Leclerc into P1, but Yuki comes back at him. We're 2 by 2. Everyone side by side into the first 2 corners. Tsunoda on the outside will retake the lead, thankfully. He has the aggression. He comes across, and we're going to be equally as aggressive as we go down the inside of 2 cars as we get Ocon and Behrman in one foul swoop, but Behrman's there on the left, and Ocon is going to be incredibly aggressive as he makes contact with us. Ocon, obviously our best pal in the F1 Manager Series. Well, here he's been a right nuisance, and we've lost those 2 positions now that we got because he's decided to get the elbows out with a bit of a kamikaze dive on the outside as we were preoccupied focusing on Behrman. He's got a 10-second penalty as there's an unreal side-by-side behind with Lando Norris trying his best to overtake Max Verstappen, but that's a 10-second penalty for Ocon. I have never seen that. Like, literally never in the history of Formula 1 games. I have never witnessed an AI be over-aggressive with me and actually in real time see him getting a penalty for what he did. That's incredible. The FIA, the stewards, have handed Ocon a 10-second penalty for that aggression with myself, with Behrman in tandem, of course, because he was also on the inside. As Tsunoda sets a purple lap time, we're now right on the back of Ocon, who's maybe a little bit flustered now, receiving the news of the penalty. We go around the outside with ease into turn 1, and we're up into P4, and now we have to re-engage and try and chase after our former Formula 2 teammates. It's always good when we're able to battle Behrman for high position. Just something poetic about having that sort of synergy and story linked back to Formula 2 as we see Verstappen overtake Albon. And I've actually been told Albon has a car issue, so one of the BMW cars is going to go backwards because of a car issue, and the other one will go backwards because of their 10-second penalty. So not really happy days for the Williams outfit today as we set a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Bit of a lock-up from Behrman ahead as we put pressure on him, and I really feel like we can get into third. And right now, Tsunoda's doing amazing to still be in first. The mini-map is showing Leclerc's all over the back of him, though, so how long that will continue, who knows? But at the moment, I'm not going to question it. At the moment, we're just flying high from this random bit of pace around Singapore as we go on the outside of Behrman in the high-tech GP car. We're into third. Things are looking very good for Toyota, and I wouldn't mind, honestly, if the race just ended like this. You know, us third, Leclerc second. You know, we only lose 3 points to the Ferrari, man. But what's happening in front of our eyes is these two are coming towards us because Tsunoda is backing Leclerc into us. You may have seen on the previous clip, you know, if you look further ahead, he tried to overtake, Leclerc did, but he actually got defended so well by Yuki, and that's going to continue here to the point where we are in DRS range. Obviously, that Ferrari is so quick, and he also has DRS of his own versus Yuki. And you can see he's so desperate for that move, but he gets close, but just can't quite make that dive. And to be honest, it's the same with us. We're getting so close now to the Ferrari's rear end. We're almost pushing him through that right-hander, but there's not an opening anywhere, and we're having to also watch out for battery, saving it where we can for the main straights, and an opening is gonna maybe happen for us on the outside here. We catch the Ferrari napping a little bit on the outside. We're now going to be side by side, wheel to wheel with the man from Monaco, our championship rival. Look how quick that Ferrari is, though, in the acceleration zone. It's unreal stuff as Perez is out of this Grand Prix. There's not going to be a safety car or VSC or anything like that, so this battle will continue as we overtake Leclerc, but we dive it far too deep into the next right-hander. We tried to basically defend the racing line, and instead Leclerc just dummied me with a bit of an inside move, and we basically overdid it on the defense basically, and Leclerc is able to re-overtake us for second place. But you know what, this has just given Tsunoda a great bit of breathing room, you know. 2.2. I would not be against Tsunoda randomly being able to win this race. It stops Leclerc winning the race. Obviously, I'd love to win it, but needs must of the situation. You know, we can just engage with Leclerc and constantly keep him under pressure. We can annoy him and he'll be nowhere near the race win. You know, that's the biggest takeaway at the moment is, you know, 4 races to go, including the one we're doing right now. I'm crunching the numbers. I'm thinking about the championship now. You know, so often we take it race by race, but now is the time to start tactically thinking about these races and, you know, accepting that if Tsunoda wins, that's actually good for us. That's good for us. It takes the win away from the Ferrari. But right now, I'm also having to accept that Verstappen, he's an absolute rocket ship. He overtook the Williams cars and then was pressurizing me to no end, and I've got no battery. Look at that yellow bar, basically nearly empty. I've used all my ERS trying to put the pressure on the Ferrari, and ultimately Verstappen is the quicker man out of all us three because Verstappen nearly immediately overtakes the Ferrari. So my thinking there was, didn't put up too much of a fight versus the Red Bull Ford, because I think he'll honestly overtake Leclerc, and then once again we find ourselves only one position behind the Ferrari, and there's no point trying to overly defend the Red Bull accepting that he is so much quicker, because there he goes on the inside. Leclerc, to be fair to him, is doing really well to maintain second, but that's only hurting his race more, because now the gap is nearly, well, it is over 3.5 seconds to Tsunoda. So Yuki is walking away with this. I can't believe what I'm seeing as Leclerc comes in. The tyre wear maybe affecting him. Tsunoda's in now as well, and so Verstappen takes the lead. We're up to second place, but myself and the Dutchman going on further to extend the stint. The Red Bulls have been loving the one-stop this season, so I assume they're going to be also on the one-stop with me. I was really hoping that Tsunoda was going to be on the one-stop. I thought maybe it made sense, but look at the top left. He's on the mediums. He's on the medium, so guaranteed a 2-stop for Tsunoda. It was definitely a 2-stop for Behrman because he pits so much earlier than everyone, and the high-tech probably doesn't have the tyre wear for it, but that's maybe the race win gone now for Tsunoda, because that was the caveat that I didn't mention the entire time. He had to stick to a one-stop, because I know, well, you can see there Hamilton's on a one-stop. He's pit for hards. I'm on a one-stop. Verstappen's on a one-stop, and I'm pretty sure Leclerc is as well. Behrman takes the lead. Tsunoda's into second. We come out just behind him. We've gained time on him, and we've come out ahead of Verstappen. We were behind him, remember, before the pit stop, but look at that. Logan Sargent in the other high-tech. Once again, a high-tech car annoying the Red Bulls in this career mode series. He's held up Verstappen so much on his outlap that I've managed to overtake him and jump him. Verstappen will immediately answer back. Probably the red mist descending in the cockpit for the Dutchman, seeing me come out ahead of him. He's immediately answered and overtaken the American driver in the high-tech, but Leclerc also suffered a similar fate because he was annoyed by Hulkenberg and is still being annoyed by Nico Hulkenberg. The Haas Cadillac overtakes the Ferrari for P5. What do we say with the R&D chart before at the very start of the episode? All these teams upgrading, apart from Ferrari, is an aid in the race, because now it seems like Ferrari don't have that massive advantage in terms of the race pace as they were enjoying in Baku, as Leclerc was enjoying in Baku, as Tsunoda is now pressurizing Behrman for the lead. Ollie Behrman in the lead because he got the undercut going with that very early stop, so he's led quite a few laps here of a Formula 1 Grand Prix now in the high-tech, but Tsunoda gets round the outside, retakes the lead of the Grand Prix, but with 10 laps to go, he's on bloody mediums. Behrman's on mediums. They're both pitting. So, I sound annoyed by it, but I'm going to take the lead of the race then, it seems. But I am annoyed because, honestly, I think Tsunoda threw away a win. He threw away his first win in Formula 1 in this series, this alternate F1 universe of ours. I think it might be. He's thrown it away. Behrman's thrown away a podium because they've not gone for the one-stop. So we'll be into the lead then. Hulkenberg, a net P2. Sorry, hang on a minute. I didn't even realise that. Hulkenberg's overtaking Verstappen. Unbelievable. That's great for us because later on lap 21... if you will just notice into this corner, I'm letting off throttle very early because at one point, a couple laps ago, I was very questionable on fuel. I was down to 0.1 of fuel. I brought that back to 0.33 as Behrman pits, so we're up to second. So Hulkenberg being a bit of a moving hurdle ahead of Verstappen and Leclerc is very good for me because I need to try and save fuel by lifting and coasting into these corners. But annoyingly, lap 24, of course, he was always going to eventually re-overtake Hulkenberg. Verstappen now is all over me, and in this phase of the race where I don't have too much battery, I need to watch the fuel. I can't be pushing it too much. Once again, I am giving up a position, the lead of the race basically, once Tsunoda pits, because I'm thinking about the championship. This isn't about the individual race, it's about the championship, and I can't get stuck fighting Verstappen. I can't even get stuck fighting Hulkenberg. I need to concentrate on keeping my lap-to-lap consistency, the lap times, good enough to stay ahead and keep an arm's length to Leclerc, because now Leclerc has clean air. He's not fighting anyone, and I'm still a bit worried about the fuel. Battery's not looking amazing, 32%. So as Tsunoda pits, Hulkenberg pits, to be fair. I didn't even notice Hulkenberg was going to pit eventually. So in the end, I'm back to second. I'm back into a podium spot. and we're ahead of Leclerc. So as before, I don't really mind about losing the win, because right now it would be something to celebrate. We're ahead of Leclerc. We're gaining points on him, and so that was my thinking there of not fighting the Dutchman too much, really. As, well, now, look at this. Even better for us, Lando Norris attacking the Ferrari. Things have suddenly all come towards us, even though I'm a little bit upset for Tsunoda losing the race win. Obviously, never nice giving up a lead yourself, giving up to Verstappen, but with, you know, ahead of Leclerc, and now he's going to be one more position lower, potentially, because the McLaren is all over the back of him. He goes from the right to left. Leclerc defends and tries his best to maintain third. He knows what's at stake here. He knows that he's giving up points to his championship rival if he gets overtaken by this McLaren. So good bit of defense there, but you get the sense it's almost inevitable. That McLaren looks so quick for all of a sudden at the very end of this race. Maybe the Ferrari has just lost the tyre wear there, and so my first teammate in this entire series, Lando Norris, may be doing us a massive favour at some point, as Tsunoda on that late two-stop, he's on the soft compound of tyre, gets down the inside of Lewis Hamilton. He gets up into P5, but I'm just thinking about what could have been. What could have been for Yuki-san. It could have been amazing, but oh well, it is what it is, as we now follow on. Norris from the left to the right. He almost got squeezed into the wall, but there it is. There it is. The McLaren overtakes for third place. So this has turned into a race where I was wanting to limit the damage to our championship rival, our nearest championship rival. It's turned into we're going to be gaining a whole host of points versus him. And this is the race before we have 5 ultimate upgrades to hopefully turn this Toyota into the best car on paper on the grid. I'm hoping. We're going to have to see next time out, but what a race this is. This is more than perfect, more than ideal, more than I could have ever hoped for. And it comes down to just track-to-track dependency. On this day, on this year, in-game, this Toyota's come alive randomly at Singapore in ways it just didn't in Baku compared to other cars. Verstappen will get all the plaudits for winning this one from quite far back. He's had a very good race, and I will happily bow to him winning, because he was the quickest man out there, really, apart from maybe Tsunoda. But second place, I'll take it. Load of points over Leclerc. Ideal.
And in the end, there was no Verstappen. Max Verstappen, he takes victory.
It's one thing to put fast laps together, but to make these moves stick without losing too much time, that's real racecraft.
And it just gets even better. Look at the race results. On the line, it looks like Tsunoda overtook Leclerc. So he may not have got the race win, but he still helped us out massively. So Leclerc pushed down another position. So he finished 3 ahead of him, and we're now, it was 1 point difference. We're now 9 points ahead of Leclerc going into the last 3 races with those massive upgrades. We may have lost the championship to this Ferrari team and this man last season in the finale, but it looks like the F1 gods up there, things are aligning for us this season, and I think we could get our revenge, and we could be doing it with such an amazing brand as Toyota. Guys, if you have enjoyed this one, then be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content, and I'll see you guys next time. I think we're about to have a lot of fun in the last 3 rounds.